Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, we are going to be doing another weapon comparison, and this time we'll be comparing a very interesting weapon, and that is the Sentinel Beam. So, the Sentinel Beam was first introduced in Halo 1, or rather Halo Combat Evolved. It was not a player-usable weapon though at the time. It was only reserved for the Sentinels themselves to use, and if you kill the Sentinels, they explode and they don't drop any Sentinel Beam weapons for you to pick up. But that being said, we will still be comparing the Sentinel Beams in Halo 1, even though they're not player usable. And likewise, we'll also be comparing the ones from Halo 4 as well. We won't be comparing the Sentinel Beam from Halo 5, because, as always, for the usual reasons, there are no mod tools that exist that can get the official stats from the tags for the Sentinel Beam in Halo 5. So we will be omitting Halo 5 from this comparison, but we'll be comparing all the other Halo games that do have the Sentinel Beams in them. So, Halo 1's Sentinel Beam. Technically, this is more of a fun fact, but the Sentinels themselves are not actually bipeds, so to speak, in Halo 1. They are the weapon. They're essentially just floating weapons that shoot you. I guess it takes the meaning of be the weapon to the next level. So just a little fun fact there. But anyways, let's get into the stats for the Halo 1's Sentinel Beam. So, the Sentinel Beams in Halo 1 have a max range of 30 world units, a velocity of 1200 world units a second, and each individual beam it fires, remember, it's not a constant beam, it's actually like a rapid fire several beams. Mini beams to look like it's a constant beam, but it's not. Each beam does 1 point of damage with a fire rate of 30 beams a second, and it does not overheat, and it does not run off energy at all, which makes sense because, it's not player usable, so it doesn't need to overheat or run off energy. So that's a little baseline for Halo 1, the base Sentinel Beam. The next Halo game to feature the Sentinel Beam is Halo 2, and it is actually player usable this time. And boy, is the Sentinel Beam really cool in Halo 2. I remember when I first played Halo 2, I was really fascinated by the weapon. I thought it was like this really awesome weapon, and I would always pick up the Sentinel Beam, but I would never use it because like all power weapons, I use them so sparingly. I'm so I guess cheap with them. I just hoard them and never use them in campaign. But anyways, the Sentinel Beam in Halo 2 has a max range of 30 world units, just like Halo 1. Same velocity of 1200, but its damage is doubled from 1 to 2 per beam. And it still has the same fire rate, so it's basically 2 times more powerful than Halo 1. And each beam you fire generates 0.04 units of heat, so it will overheat after a while, of course, and it uses 0.003 amount of energy per shot. So that's Halo 2's Sentinel Beam, the base Sentinel Beam. Halo 2 actually also has a second Sentinel Beam, which is the blue Sentinel Beam that the Sentinel Majors fire, and it is more powerful. But what about the base stats? Well, we'll get that in a second, but this Sentinel Beam, in addition to shooting blue beams, also is gold colored, just like the Sentinels that shoot it out. So just a little aesthetic difference there to tell the difference between the two. But as for stats, everything is the same, almost everything, except for the damage here, where it's been increased by 1 point of damage from 2 to 3. And fire rates are the same. Its heat per shot is a little bit higher, 0.45 instead of 0.045 instead of 0.04. So it will overheat a little quicker, and it runs up energy a little quicker, 0.035 energy use per shot instead of 0.003. So yeah, it's a more powerful weapon, but it does have the drawback of running out faster and overheating faster. So the next weapon to feature the Sentinel Beam is Halo 3, and it's still usable in this, but Halo 3 only has one Sentinel Beam now, the one that shoots the orange beam. It no longer has the blue Sentinel Beam anymore. Technically, the auto turrets, the little equipment they can toss down, does shoot blue beams, but I don't count that as a Sentinel anymore. So we only have the base Sentinel Beam now. But how does this base Sentinel Beam compare to Halo 2 and Halo 1's? Well, for starters, its max range has been increased by 4 times from 30 in Halo 2 and 1 to 120 in Halo 3. It's got much longer range. Its velocity is also significantly increased from 1200 in all the older Halo games to 4000, and its damage has been increased to 4, which is higher than even Halo 2's blue Sentinel Beam, which was supposed to be more powerful than the base one. Fire rate is still the same as 30, and the heat per shot and the decay per shot is the same as Halo 2's base Sentinel Beam. which makes it more powerful and lasts longer than the blue Sentinel Beam in Halo 2. So, the next Sentinel Beam is in Halo 4. We are now back to non-player usable Sentinel Beams, just like Halo 1. But these Sentinel Beams, they have a much different effect. They're now purple beams. And the Sentinels have also had a major redesign as well. But unlike Halo 1, they're not floating weapons. Sentinels are still characters using the Sentinel Beams. They're just not player usable though, and they don't have a mod or anything. But as for their stats, like Halo 3, they have a max range of 120, velocity of 4,000, but the damage has been reduced from 4 to 3 in Halo 4. And the fire rate is still 30 though, it's the same in every Halo game essentially. The heat per shot, surprisingly, it does have overheat and decay, even though it's not player usable. It's 0.014 and 0.002, making it the lowest of the Halo series, aside from Halo 1, which doesn't overheat or decay. So, with all those numbers in mind, which Halo game has the most powerful Sentinel Beam? Well, I would have to say definitively, hands down, that would have to be Halo 3's Sentinel Beam. That's right, for once Halo 3 actually won. It rarely ever wins. But yeah, it does the most damage, it has really great range and velocity, and its overheat and use of energy is comparable to Halo 2's base Sentinel Beam. Now technically Halo 4's Sentinel Beam does not overheat or decay as quickly as Halo 3's or Halo 2's, but you know, A, it's not player usable, and B, it also does less damage. So, because of that, I would definitely have to give the best Sentinel Beam to Halo 3's. Overall, like, you know, aside from doing the most damage, it's damage, because they all have the same fire rate, it's very easy to compare. You can pretty much disregard the fire rate. And, you know, I would normally compare the damage per second each one does, but because they all have the same fire rate, you just need to look at the damage. And basically, Halo 3's definitely has the highest damage per second, simply because it has the highest damage in this case. But, I mean, Halo 4's Sentinel Beam, if you could use it, it would be like a longer-lasting Halo 3 Sentinel Beam, but just slightly weaker. Basically, it would be like if Halo 3 had a blue Sentinel Beam, like the Halo 2 one. Same damage, but with Halo 3's range and velocity. But, you know, it's not player usable, so even if it did have higher damage than Halo 3's, I don't know, I probably wouldn't give it best Sentinel Beam, but it doesn't matter. Halo 3's is the most powerful, hands down, so there you guys have it. That is the most powerful Sentinel Beam in all the Halo games. Now, if I wanted to guess how it compares to Halo 5 Sentinel Beam, I don't know. Halo 5 Sentinel Beam is pretty decent, but like I said, I can't compare the stats from objectively, so based on observations, I think I might say that Halo 3 still has a more powerful Sentinel Beam than Halo 5, but, you know, without the actual stats, I can't say that definitively. But yeah, so there you guys have it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this comparison video and found it to be interesting and informative, and if you did, make sure to leave a like as always. You know, let me know in the comments what you want me to compare next. There's still definitely a few weapons and characters to compare, so feel free to let me know in the comments, and I'll definitely do my best to get to it soon whenever I can. But other than that, if you haven't already, do make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye guys!